Okay, we tried to bring you all the way to the oldest part of this city that goes back more than 3,300 years ago. Of course, the city goes even earlier than that, but what you're looking at right now is the remains of a gate of a city or a fortress from the time of the pharaohs in Egypt from the 1300 BC. You understand that? We're in the city that is called Joppa, or in Hebrew Jaffa, that is from the Hebrew word that means beautiful. Indeed, it's a beautiful city. Don't you think so?
Yes.
We were walking through the nice, beautiful, romantic alleys of the city where most people come to propose. I tried, it didn't work, but for most people, this was very good. Can you hear me over there? And so, we're sitting right now next to the most ancient part of one of the most ancient cities in this whole country. Now, make a note that we are located right next to the Mediterranean, and in the ancient times, the most important places, two empires of those great days, were Egypt in the south and Mesopotamia up in the northeast. And it was a very important road that connected the two. And the road went by right here. That road was known as the Way of the Sea, the Via Maris in the Latin language. And this city, together with many other ones around this country, was greatly affected and influenced by the fact that it's situated right on the coast by the Via Maris, by the Way of the Sea. These two great empires always fought each other. The pharaohs in Egypt will make their way up here towards the Mesopotamian area, and the Assyrian Babylonians, even earlier than that, they would make their way down towards Egypt. And everyone that came here left a whole ruined area, destroyed. They would destroy everything on their way up and down. And so you would imagine what it took for thousands of years, how much destruction this area had known. And therefore, much of what we can find here is buried under the ground of today, and it's ruins of different time periods, different civilizations. The reason why we brought you here is A, because it's shady. B, because we're looking at the time when the pharaohs of Egypt took over this city and made it their own colony, built here an Egyptian fortress, and this was most likely the gate into that fortress. You understand that? Joppa was a territory that was given to the tribe of Dan. But the tribe of Dan, we'll hear it along the tour, decided not to take it, or at least to leave it, to abandon it at a certain point. This city, or this place, functioned as an important seaport and the closest one to Jerusalem. Jerusalem and Joppa enjoyed great relationship. In fact, the most important street of Joppa is the Jerusalem Boulevard. And the most important street of Jerusalem is the Jaffa Street. And they're still connected in a sense. The most important road today in Israel is Route 1, connecting Joppa and Tel Aviv with Jerusalem. So that artery is still important even up until today. Jerusalem enjoyed Joppa's seaport because it was the closest one and the most accessible one. But of course, in later time periods, other seaports were built that could, of course, supply much more than what this tiny little one did. A great story took place right here. A great chapter in the scriptures took place right here, which we will hear right now. But the story of Joppa goes all the way back, as I said, thousands of years ago, and continued up until today with a very rare sequence of settlement. Very rarely you find a place that is settled all the way from 4,000 or 5,000 years ago until today without almost any break. This place went through the different time periods, whether it's the ancient Egyptians, the Canaanites, even the Philistines were here, talking about the kings of Israel, and we continue on with the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Greek, the Romans, the Byzantines, the Muslims, the Crusaders built here a big fortress we turned into the Church of St. Peter. After them came the Egyptians, and after that the Turkish Empire ruled for 400 years in a row, the British Mandate, and the State of Israel in 1948. And all throughout that time, people lived here. To tell you that Jews lived here all throughout those days, I cannot tell you that. The Jews were away from this country for hundreds of years. We do have the return of the Jews to this city in the 1700s and the 1800s, and when it was too packed, and when the Jews here felt that they must go out to start something new, it was 1909 when they started Tel Aviv. At that time, there was nothing over there but sand dunes. And they started the first Jewish, all Hebrew, all Jewish neighborhood of Joppa, north of it, in a little area just behind our hotel. I don't know if you had a chance to look, but there's all short, red roof houses. This is the beginning of Tel Aviv, right there. 1909. And then, of course, it continued up until now. Tel Aviv is bigger than Joppa. And both serves as one city under one mayor. Joppa is a mixed Jewish Arab city, like Jerusalem, Haifa, and Beersheba. Great relationship between the two. They all live together, work together, and Joppa is a symbol of coexistence here in this place. In the latter years, Joppa's old city turned into an artist colony. You probably could see when we walked through the narrow alleys, all those studios of the different artists. It's a very expensive place, especially the area close to the coast, and it cost a lot to live here. But 2,000 years ago, I'm not sure if a tanner had to pay $2 million to buy a place here. And a tanner did live here. And I think we want to hear what happened with him. And what happened with his guest.
Amir, do we have time for music?
Sure.
You guys want to